How's it going, everybody? Today is a special day. Today is my birthday, May 25th, 2024, and it's currently 2:21 in the morning when I'm recording this, and I had some stuff to say. It's not only just a good night because the Mavericks won and are now 2-up in the series, which is amazing, but I think to celebrate my birthday and me being 22 years old, I should tell you 22 things that I've learned in 22 years. I know 22 is not old. It's pretty young. And I am no way equipped to tell you about your life or how you should maintain your life or anything. This is just the perspective of me. Something I want to share with you on a day that I usually not too excited about. But for some reason now, I feel pretty okay. And I think I should just talk. Now, for the first thing is I'm grateful to be alive. It sounds very humorous to say that because it's very literal. Most people are grateful to be alive, but a lot of us aren't. Even if you're appreciative of your life, a lot of people tend to take it for granted, not thinking about the worst outcome of it. And most times you tend to value your life most when you realize how privileged you are. I mean, in the bare necessities, like being able to even walk in the morning or being able to eat normally, or being able to just enjoy the comfort of your home. With the hustle and bustle of life, we tend to take a lot of things for granted, and you tend to not take those things for granted when you see stuff around you or go through stuff yourself. This isn't something I put on the list, but life could be unfair. Tons of you have had either unfair stuff happen to you or to loved ones and family members. And things have happened recently in life around me that has made me really reconsider how lucky I am that I'm able to wake up every day and live a normal life. Everything that I dislike or feel like is wrong with me is just personal issues of a journey I'm going through. But the bare necessity of being able to live, I'm just really grateful for, and sometimes paranoid because it can be taken away from me. And it's only when something's taken away from you is that you realize how grateful you are that I was there to begin with. And like I said, this is not just for people. It could also just be for the ones they love most. Loved ones, friends. People die tragically all the time. Good people die all the time, not fairly. Some people suffer from things that they should not be having to have happen to them. And they could still keep a good attitude or be grateful that they're even alive. Like, I have a friend who went through a really bad tragedy, and his mindset was that he's just happy that he is alive from it. And that's a crazy way to think about stuff. And most people don't think like that. Like I said, we're very momentum-based people. We always kind of take in what is in our plate. Like, oh, I'm struggling with college classes. Oh, I'm struggling to do this. I'm struggling. And while those struggles are not cool and not awesome, they're at least struggles of being alive. And it could be much worse. Which takes me to the second thing I learned. Aging is okay. Rome wasn't built in a day. I think when I was 19, I made a video talking about age and age comparisons. And now at 22, I still kind of think like this, but it's going down. I think it's very easy to compare ourselves to other people and accomplishes that they've done versus us. But you just always have to remember, Billie Eilish was famous at 16. Some musicians were famous at 16. Some people get lucky at 16. But then one of my favorite YouTubers, who is Nakey Jakey, got his start around 21 to 22-ish, same place I am. And it's not ever too late to start. I think we look at age really deeply because we feel like our time is always on a clock, that our youthful years are something to always cherish. But like I said, it's just always momentum. At 18, I was very locked in, and 19, I was very locked in, and it's got me to where I am now. And sometimes I always feel like I'm at square one, but I'm really not, which then brings up, another thing within this number 2. You could always get it back. Sometimes we always think that element of us is gone, either it be work ethic or motivation or drive, but it could always come back, and it could always respark at different ways of life or get rejuvenated in some type of opportunity. It's never gone, and Rome was not built in a day. It's not healthy to compare yourself to other people in general, but especially with ages, because people are always on their own directory of life. We all travel at different speeds. Samuel Jackson wasn't even really in his first movie until he's 40, and he has a great life, and he lives a great life. I'm not saying to slow down. I think you should value time, and time does move, but if you're making progress in some type of way, that's good. And the spark never really dies out. It can always be reignited, even if you don't feel like it can be. It can be. And you know that too. That's just insecurity talking, and that's just, it always can be lit, which abruptly takes me to my third thing. People could change. I know this is a very weird one compared to the last, but as I was jotting it down, I was just thinking about my perspectives of stuff. People can change. This is more of a human thing than any type of content creation or what I usually talk on here. I feel like we sometimes look at people as cement, that who a person is who they will always be, that there might be traits and people can't learn. A dog can't learn new tricks. And that is just not true. We learn and we grow in different ways through simple life or life experiences. Once again, opportunity, momentum. That's all that life is. And to say that people can't change is ridiculous. There's some people who don't change. I'm not going to lie about that. But for the most part, people can become better, but they could also become worse. We're just products of time. The guy I'm talking to right now in this flock nest could be a different guy in 2 years from now. I could be a terrible person, completely derailed from this type of life position that I'm trying to go in now. But for now, right here, I'm a person who's trying to be better, a person who's trying to improve his life every day, a person who wants to live in this moment of humbleness and trying to be great. I know that doesn't make sense to say that I'm trying to live in humbleness. My thing is that I just don't want to live in a me show, to think that my problems are all that matters or that I deserve to have things. And I've been very bad before. I've been mean to friends, loved ones, and it wasn't cool. Either it'd be young angst or just maybe I was just confused, stressed, annoyed. But that just comes with maturity. I'm not the same guy I was when I was 18, and I'm not going to be the same guy I am right now when I have kids someday, or things just go better for me. People could change. People could be better than what they are. It might take a new environment, a new person, somebody special entering your life who gives you that type of feeling you've never had before. Love, money even, which then takes me to the fourth thing. Care and love don't go both ways sometimes. This is important for me to talk about because I've been feeling this for a while now, and it's very hard to accept that people don't feel the way you do. I think ever since I was 18, I've been trying to chase this idea of brotherhood. I really liked Brockhampton, I liked music groups, I liked friends, and I just really wanted me and my friends to always kind of be cemented, or I really wanted me and, I guess, love interest to work out. But sometimes things don't go your way, or people don't appreciate you the way you appreciate them, and that's okay. I used to be angry about this, thinking about, once again, it only affecting me. But once again, we're all just people on our own trajectory. Sometimes you are a side character in people's stories. Sometimes you don't matter as much as you think you do. We can't hold this high expectation of people all the time to fill our needs. But we could also respect ourselves, which makes it okay to let people go. People could exit your life and enter your life at any times. You just need to protect yourself in most cases, because having one-way relationships or one-way friendships is pretty devastating and emotionally draining. So just understand that sometimes it doesn't go both ways. And if you need to leave a situation or a dynamic, that is completely fine. Life is not always a fairy tale where you work it out or go through a traumatic event that makes you guys get closer. Sometimes people operate in different ways. And it goes back to what I said earlier, people can change. So just always have an open mind, and maybe things might improve later, but protect yourself. Which brings us to the next thing of 5. Don't live in the past. Being 22 now, I look at a lot of mistakes I've made to get here. Looking from 18 to 22, there's been a lot of mistakes and a lot of things I really regret. I wish I could have made different decisions to maybe keep my friend group together, or made different decisions that could have kept my social life intact or made me have a great opportunity. I always used to think about college because of that. I didn't go to college, and a lot of people would always come for the summer and have stories, and then they would leave, and I was alone again, just kind of grinding in my room, trying to make this little dream come true. And I hated it. I thought I made the wrong decision. I thought I was an idiot. I thought I completely ruined my life because of it. I didn't graduate high school in a traditional way. Lockdown happened, and that's when I really went into this thing. And I always kind of viewed that this YouTube thing was like a sacrifice. Like I gave up a piece of myself so I could try to pursue something that isn't always constant. It's something that was a dream, and dreams do take sacrifice like that. And I used to really dread getting this. But once again, it's just what you make of it. And to live in that past, you could do that for anything. You could regret time wasted, or you could regret decisions you made. You could be in a 3-year relationship and it goes to shit, and you just only look at the negative of it versus the lessons you learned, the maturity you gained. Sometimes there's something really impressive of coming back from failure. That is really strong for character building. Life is just about that. Life is just lessons. It's not always going to go your way. And when those losses come, and it's about how you deal with them. That's how you really truly build character. It's how you handle the tough difficulties, how you handle not always winning. So don't regret all your decisions. There's nothing to gain from living in regret. You can regret stuff, but you can't live in that past. You can't live in nostalgia, and you can't get back what was behind you. You can only make of what you have now. And this thing of nostalgia and people living in the past tends to make them forget the present, to forget the future, the people who are still with them. Man, I miss friendships. I miss some stuff in the past, but I have stuff now, stuff that I cherish, stuff that I really truly love. And I can't just always focus on what's behind me, because like Meet the Robinsons said from Disney, you just got to keep moving forward. Which brings us to 6. You deserve human decency. Once again, this sounds like a very normal thing to say, but most of the times, because we want to be accepted in ways, or we want to have peers, or we want to be respected, or be in a group of stuff, we tend to sacrifice human decency and not stand up for ourselves, or think about ourselves, or view ourselves as equals with people. And this is a big problem that some deal with, and that I used to deal with. Some people don't have filters to what they say, or some people don't think about the stuff they say, or they might throw subtle digs, or try to jab at your character, or try to demoralize you, gaining an upper step on you. And depending what type of dynamic you're in, either it be like at a new job, at a new school, or in a new friend group, we tend to sometimes be submissive to that. We let things slide. We take jabs on our shoulders. We let people do things and step on our human decency because we want to feel validated. We want to feel like we belong. We don't want to mess something up that we feel like we belong in. But I promise you, protecting your human decency, being able to be valued and treated by stuff, goes farther along than walking on eggshells or being afraid. There's people out there who could care for you, who could truly like you. And I get it. Sometimes we have to people please because there's things around us. But respecting yourself is top of priority, what you should do. It's better for your mental health. It's better for your sociological health. You deserve human decency, and you should give human decency back. Which then also brings us to 7, which I just made a Flocknest about, is protecting your peace. People could have feelings about you. People could dislike you, have judgments about you. It's just about what you believe. A lot of people don't know the other side of something they think. They make characters in their heads, or they make opinions that only they could feed into. They don't want to see the other side of the looking glass, or think of people as people. It could sometimes not even be personal. You might be the jab of an inside joke that gives them leverage in a friend group. You might just be a piece of television, or something that isn't real, and just used to fill the void. We yell at sports players, we yell at videos, we yell at fucking people who walking down the street, either be their appearance or whatever it is. And the same happens to you. We can't stop people from thinking the way they do sometimes, and we can't stop people from doing the things they do. So the best thing you can do is protect your own peace. Understand yourself. Understand who you are. And just do it to the best of your ability to keep walking with this. Keep it in mind. Trust your gut. Trust your heart. Know who you are directly. And like I said, it sounds corny and like a fortune cookie, but it really does go a long way. Only one you could really trust sometimes is that guy in the mirror looking back at you. His calls, his judgments, and whatever he believes sometimes is best. It's good to take criticisms and it's good to take feedback from people, but sometimes people just talk shit to talk shit or just say shit to say shit. It truly is about what you believe and what you don't believe. Which then brings us to also number 8. Not everyone is going to like you. And that's okay. Dealing with people not liking you is one of the best abilities you could have in life. It allows you to be truly free. We spend too much time trying to people please, and I spend too much time trying to people please sometimes. And some of the most freedom you could ever have is not fearing what people think of you. Those who truly like you will have the open-mindedness to see the complexities of what you do. Either it be something they don't like or something they do like. They will look into you. They will understand you. Way more than just a surface level of what it is, for both good and bad. It sounds like such a 4th grade thing to say, but I think we sometimes get so caught up in what people think of us that we tend to reflect that stuff back to ourselves. You could look at 25 compliments about you and see 2 things in a negative context, and those stick out way more than the other ones because it's something that you don't like, or something you might think is truthful, but you just have to think about the good rather the bad. And sometimes it might be justified, and that's okay. We make mistakes. We do things that are maybe dislikable to certain people. We can't harp on it. We could only just try to be better and move forward from it. The past is the past. You just have to keep walking forward from it. Don't stay in one place too long. Progress is the best thing to do. Which then brings us to 9. It's okay to be afraid. The reason I put this down specifically is sometimes I fear to be afraid. I fear to truly talk about the things and my concerns because I think it's either going to be used against me or I might show too much of my hand that kind of disrupts my process to people. I don't want people to think of me any less or think of me in a way that needs help, like to be a wounded puppy. And I've struggled with this outside of just YouTube, even in my own personal life. a lot with my mom, actually. I didn't like showing vulnerability a lot because I just didn't want to make anyone fear for me. I didn't want to make my friends fear for me. I don't like people being sad that I'm sad, if that makes sense. I don't want people to be afraid or to think of steps and stress me out even more. It's my job to get back up and to always try again or find a solution or just deal with it. Or at least that's how I used to think, because that's not the best way to go about stuff. I've thugged it out a lot, all the time, but it's really good to let somebody into that lair sometimes. Somebody who's not going to judge you for it and somebody who's not going to weaponize it against you. Find someone you could trust to just either spill your mind or really talk about your thoughts. I ended up doing this with my mom. I just ended up talking to her about my life, about things going on, and it was all just paranoia. I don't need to fear being vulnerable. Even right now, being vulnerable in this flock nest, if anyone was to use it against me, I don't care, because I don't give a shit. Like I said before, I protect my peace now. I know who I am, and it's okay to be vulnerable sometimes. It's okay to be open about things and give our thoughts and be humans. We don't always have to fear ridicule, because most of the time people ridiculing us anyways are the most insecure people that reflect back some of the truths that I am saying. And like I said earlier though, people can change, so always keep a good mind about that. Which then brings us to number 10. Life is peak and valleys. It's not always going to go your way. You will hit rough patches, you will hit challenges, things are going to get tough, and sometimes things will be great. And when things are great, they will go back down and then they will go back up. The fun of life is having those peaks and valleys, seeing how you mold around challenges and adversity. If everything was smooth sailing, you would get so bored of it or not be happy about it, and then eventually get depressed by just having things go too much your way. Having those peaks and valleys gives you gratefulness and perspective, so take that as it is. If you are grateful to be alive to begin with, you will understand that the peaks and valleys are just a part of the process. Which then brings us to number 11. Inaction halts progression. That being said, with peaks and valleys, it's okay to lose sometimes, but inaction makes no progress. You have to get back up. You have to try again. You have to try and not give up. That is the biggest thing in anything. Any field you're in, if you're an artist, a YouTuber, a photographer, or if you're even like trying to just climb the ranks of work, you have to show up. You have to hold on during that thunderstorm. That is the biggest thing to do. To take inaction and to do nothing and let everything pass you by will then create regret later. You know, the dominoes will stack. More time will pass, And while you can restart later, it's best to not just be steady. Trust me, I've done that before. And while I don't regret it anymore because I'm moving forward, it used to eat at me. And you want to prevent that, trust me, from a guy who is 22 years old. If you're younger than me or older than me, you probably have done this yourself, because that's just how life is. We don't always see the doors that are open, and they have to close sometimes for us to want to open them again. Which then brings us to number 12. Take a risk. Life is too short, and life is too precious to not take a risk. The worst thing you could do when you take a risk is fail. And if anyone's going to judge you for failing, that is once again insecurity, and they need to fuck off. If you have a dream, if you have a passion, if you have something you want to do, if you want to start a business, if you want to go to some type of school or do some type of thing, get into a relationship, take the first step, be fearless, and take that risk, and you will not regret it later. Living in this fear of having to plan 20 steps ahead or having a bunch of chips before you do anything will then cause this comfortability. You will have a hand to lay back on, which then causes inaction. It's good to have a plan B, but sometimes relying on a plan B makes it so that plan A never stays a plan A. Everyone loves an underdog, and everybody likes it when people all put their chips on the table and make their dreams come true. You always hear something advising against it, either it be hypocritical or not truthful to how they live their life. A lot of people like to kick the ladder down when they're up in that type of thing, but as a true dreamer, as somebody who likes to think in that way and is completely accepting of failure, take a risk. The worst you could do is fail, and even from failure, you can learn. Pressures do make diamonds. That's number 13, which then also plays into take a risk. Sometimes the things you might think are not the greatest will end up helping later on. For YouTube, I grinded from 18 to 19 years old and didn't really see any progress. But I was learning how to edit, I was learning how to script, I was just progressing in something that I didn't notice till now. I'm not the same person I was. I've gotten better. I've improved at stuff. Putting time into things you really like and are really passionate about will pay off later. You just can't tell because it's in the heat of that moment. But trust me, hard work does pay off. Sometimes maybe not in results, but in how you do stuff. Which then brings us to 14. Live in your reality and make the best of it. Whatever reality you have now is what you should live in. If you can't afford a computer and you have crappy technology, do your best you can with that. If you live in a bad situation or if you're in a bad time of life, do the best you can with that. To look at other people's lives and see what they are and see, oh wow, I should be at this, like I should be like them at this, just creates nothing but unnecessary pressure. Use your tools around you to the best of your ability. Live your life how it is now and either progress forward or just be okay with where it's at now. It's not good to not make the best of your reality because it is your reality. Which then brings us to 15. Empathy is amazing. Taking a high road or being open-minded is some of the best things you could do for you as a person, for the people around you, and it allows you to just observe people. Sometimes listening is the best thing you could do than having to input yourself. And I've done that a lot recently. I've just tried to listen more, try to have empathy, try to think about why people do the things they do or who they are. It's really easy to get bleak with life and not think about empathy, but empathy goes a long way. Which then brings us to 16. Forgiveness is vital. This is a controversial one, but you should always just take a road to forgiveness. I'm a person who's been wronged by a lot of people, deep people in my life. And yeah, I'm justified to be angry. I'm justified to hold grudges, but there's really no benefit to living with those grudges in my own life. I've had countless nights of not sleeping or not being able to let go of that past. And it's done nothing but hurt me because it goes one way, like I said earlier. Like to myself, I'm the only one who really carries it with me. The other people, I guess the people that I'm speaking about, they might think of it too, but I can't tell because I'm not in their head. But in my own head, it does nothing to benefit me to hold on to resentment and hatred and anger. It just chips away at me and makes me feel bad and not good. It doesn't excuse actions from other people, but if you could be so elevated to have forgiveness to your worst enemies, to people who have completely who have done you wrong, that is some of the most, once again, freedom you will ever experience, the most mental clearness you can have. It truly makes you a better person to forgive. Even if it's not justified, it only benefits you as a person, to forgive. Which then brings us to 18. It's okay to seek guidance. I used to get angry sometimes that I wish I had like Master Yodas, or I wished I had like people who were like way older than me that were able to give me wisdom and that I could ask questions to. And then I realized that there's people my same age or people who are older than me that I might not have thought about that I could seek guidance from. I used to have an ego about it. I thought I was smarter than some people. I thought that I had a better perspective on life, so I shouldn't listen to them. But then I finally just shut up and listened, and I've gotten some of the best guidance I've ever had from people. Even some younger than me, some way older than me, some with completely different perspectives of life. I actually sought out guidance and didn't hear what I wanted to hear. Which brings us to 18, or did I say the last one was? I don't know. Seek an elevation in human spirit. This could be from religion to spirituality to even philosophy. It's usually religion for most people, but if you're not religious, you could learn a lot from philosophy or hearing people talk about aspects of life. I used to think meditation was fucking corny and stupid and like nonsense. But when you hear people talk about stuff like that, or they talk about tribes, or they talk about spirituality like that, or the feelings they get from religion, you could tend to understand why a lot of people seek stuff like that. I've dug into a lot of philosophy lately, and I've heard a lot of philosophy lately, and it's opened up a part of my mind that I haven't had open in a long time. And for the most part, it used to be closed because of my ego, of my pride, of me thinking I had all the answers and I knew my own destiny when I really didn't. And I just had to learn to listen and take in stuff. Which brings us to 19. It's okay to never stop learning. I used to think at some certain age that I would know the answers of what to do and I would always apply it and it would never stop learning. But we never stop learning. There's even 70-year-olds who learn stuff, people who get new perspectives all the time. Learning is so important because it means that we're alive. We're able to still move on and take things in. It's really important. Which brings us to 20. There is a light at the end of the tunnel. It might not feel like it now. There always is. If you are in the worst spot of your life or things are not going your way, wake up every morning, try again. If you're not trying again, just hold on. Hold on and keep that mindset. Keep learning new mindsets. Keep trying again. Hold on. And then eventually you will see that light at the end of the tunnel. You might not be able to access it in a day, but hold on and it will eventually get closer and bigger, and then you could take a chance. And the thing on the other side of it is going to be so worth it. You don't even understand. People love you. People appreciate you. It's all part of the process. You don't think it is, but you know for a fact there is something at the light. Just please hold on to that hope. Which then brings us to 21. Someone will always have it better and worse than you. Whatever you're dealing with right now, someone is doing better than you and someone is doing worse than you. We are never equal. Life is not fair. Life is not deserved. Life is not guaranteed. We make the best of it and we appreciate what we have and just hold on to hope and see what can happen. Which then brings us to 22, the age I am right now, at 3 a.m., May 25th. The last thing I took so far of becoming this age that I've learned right now is to love yourself, to love who you are. You even being alive is such a low risk chance. And there's people who probably would give everything in the world to be who you are. I've hated myself a lot. And I hurt the feelings of people who do love me by doing that. People appreciate me, even though I sometimes feel like they don't. I sometimes feel like I'm unnoticed or kind of a ghost. But people do love me, and I do truly love myself. And I will continue to becoming better and doing better. So, happy birthday to me. Thank you for listening. Thank you for sticking around, and I'll see you next time. Goodbye.